I would like to call to order the Transportation and Road Improvement Committee for the Village of Hoffman Estates on November 8th, 2021. Would our secretary please call the roll?
Chairman Mills.
Present.
Vice Chairman Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Noel. Present. Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We are all here. I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes of October 11th.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have one item under new business this evening, a request authorization, and I love this name, to award contract for the Higgins Road Culvert Head Wall Repair and Railing Project to Misfits Construction Company of Chicago, Illinois. The low bid at an amount not to exceed $68,505.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Wenderski, you wish to address this?
Sure, thank you. The Higgins Road Culvert project is located between the Stonegate Conference Center and Moretti's on the downstream end of the culvert head wall, adjacent to the sidewalk at that location.
Is your microphone on there, Al?
I don't think the mics are working.
Doesn't seem loud enough.
Okay, you're on now.
Thank you.
Talk louder then.
Okay. We got it. So the project is located on the culvert between Stonegate Conference Center and Moretti's on the south side of Higgins Road. We did go out to bid on November 1st. We received 4 bids for the work, with the lowest qualified bidder being Misfits Construction. Similar to other projects we've seen recently, the costs were higher than the engineer's estimate, kind of due to the nature of material delivery and procurement in current times. Though the costs are higher, we did receive bids that were kind of in a normal spread near the bottom, nothing suggesting that the bid was out of line with what the market is at the current time, and there is sufficient funds within the Barrington-Higgins TIF to fully fund the project.
Oh, excuse me. Any questions? Now, we are taking care of this, and this is coming out of the TIF funds then, right?
That's correct.
You were
yeah.
just saying that. Okay. If there are no questions, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Reports for information-only purposes, the Transportation Division Monthly Report. Anything you wish to highlight on that?
There's nothing to add to that.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, we'll mark that as received and filed. President's report.
Yeah, a few things. On Tuesday, the 3rd, attended the Northwest Municipal Conference Executive Committee meeting. Thursday, the 4th, the National League of Cities Transportation Infrastructure meeting. And later that evening, we had the Capital Improvements Board meeting that several of us were able to attend. That's chaired by Trustee Palafis. November 5th, we met with representatives from Microsoft talking about local involvement. And after that, Jennifer Georgievic and I went over to SHARE. Local 58 of the Carpenters Union and other unions replaced their wooden deck. They did a lot of work changing the drainage, and they poured a concrete patio for the enjoyment of the people who stay at SHARE. Probably would have cost $20,000. Which SHARE didn't have the money to do, so the union stepped up and came through. We've been very lucky to have the union so involved in our community. On Saturday the 6th, we had the always popular Public Works Open House, the Great Pumpkin Drop, which is always a highlight of an event. And this afternoon, Clerk Romanoff and I attended the retirement luncheon for Officer Hugh Lynch at the Police Department. And this coming Thursday at 10:45, the village will have their Veterans Memorial Day event at the Veterans Memorial in front of the police building at 411 West Higgins Road, and I hope a lot of people can show up for that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. I don't see anything else to come before this committee this evening. We do have 2 items in review. Review of resident requests for stop signs to reduce speed on Chambers Drive, and review of a request to add a stop sign at Mojave Street and Illinois Boulevard. And those will be coming back before this committee in the future. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.
No. I'd like to call to order the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee for the Village of Hoffman Estates on this November 8th, 2021. May we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Stanton.
I'm present.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
We do have a quorum. Looking for approval of the minutes of October 11th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Anybody notice any corrections or deletions that need to be made? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. New business, we have a pretty full agenda. We have 6 items. First, request by Brennan Investment Group for a courtesy review for a proposed speculative industrial building in the Huntington 90 Business Park, and B, approval of an ordinance supporting a Cook County Class 6B classification application for property tax assessment purposes for the proposed development to be located east of Eagle Way and south of the Bell Works West Ring Road. Kevin, you want to?
Yeah. Good evening. Is this still on?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. All right. Yeah, so this item pertains, the courtesy review part of it maybe isn't as shocking or game-changing as other properties or uses, as it's zoned industrial and it's proposed to stay industrial. The Brennan Investment Group would purchase this site that's just north of Bystronic and south of the Bell Works along Eagle Way to build a 201,000 square foot spec industrial property. You can see in your packets, their brokers have kind of done a marketing study. If the building was up right now, those are some of the tenants that would consider this type of space that they would be building. This is also the group, if you're at all familiar with the Elk Grove Technology Park on Higgins Road there. That's the one with the large bronzed elk in the pond. That's the park that they are developing now as well. So they're looking to move here, but part of developing here is that 6B in Cook County here, so close to Kane County. And so that's the other part of this agenda item, that they are seeking support for their 6B application to go forward to the county and get that before they spend too much time and money moving forward, really. So Matt Holmes from the attorney for Brennan is here if you have questions for him, and I will leave you to it. Yes.
Just one thing before he starts. I've been over to the Elk Grove Park.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous over there.
Thank you.
Even just the pathways with the ponds, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Thanks.
I take my dog over there.
There you go.
That's all I needed to hear. Karen Arnett likes it. I'm good.
Who's going to give us the review?
So Matt's here if you have, but the review, like I said, is the spec industrial building, which you have the site plan for, along with a couple of renderings of what the building would look like in your packet. And then if you would like to read the review for Matt to Mr. Holmes to accept, he can do so.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, do you understand that your appearance before the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee shall not constitute any village board endorsement, support, or implied approval of the subject property? And you also understand that the final project approval or denial shall only occur through official village board action?
I do.
All right, thank you. You have a purpose. The purpose is to build a spec building. Do you think that would come in now?
As was indicated by Kevin when he was speaking, we provided a broker's study of potential tenants, people that we are talking to about our various projects, including this one. Primarily, they are light manufacturing uses, but we look at it very similar to the Elk Grove Technology Park as that type of market. It would be kind of a high-end light manufacturing use, a technology use That's kind of what we build and what our market is.
Yeah, I just don't want a building to go up and not be filled
Oh,
for
no,
any really length of time.
I don't think that it would be a problem. We believe the market is fairly kind of flush at this point. We don't have a contract for a tenant at this point, and we're technically only the contract purchaser of this property. But we are looking to develop it, immediately. And honestly, we are the contract purchaser for the remaining 4-acre parcel in that subdivision as well. And we'd be looking to develop that further down the road.
Okay. Anyone else with any other questions? Yes, Gary.
Please.
So you're saying office and warehouse. Is it warehouse, like open warehouse, or is it like data center could be?
It could be. What typically we do is we let the market dictate what the actual construction is. Well, we're talking about a 201,000 square foot warehouse industrial building. That's what we said with respect to each of the Elk Grove Technology Park parcels. We didn't know who the tenants were going to be when we started the process. That means that we're not ruling out tenants such as data centers or distribution, but we believe right now the market is for primarily what we referred to in the broker study that was submitted. There would be modifications to this site that would be required. I mean, when we propose a spec building and show you it's like a drawing or a rendering of it, it may look like that. There may be modifications. Right now, we have docking doors. If this is a data center, it doesn't need those.
Right,
We would modify those to be, equipment shelters instead of dock doors. But generally, the square foot, the orientation of this, as indicated in the site plan, would be what we submitted at this time.
Are you a broker for Amazon? Just asking.
No, I'm not.
You had a lot of logos on there, but that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, no,
Just asking.
no.
That was all for me.
Okay. Anyone else with any other questions? Yes, Trustee Mills.
This is for Mr. Kramer. We could go ahead and approve a 6B, even though this is just spec at this time.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
And the 6B doesn't kick in until a tenant goes in.
Okay, perfect.
Technically, you're just authorizing the county to issue it, and we don't get it issued until the property gets reappraised with a
Right.
tenant inside the building. So
Now, you said you would expect to begin construction.
sometime early next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long a project do you think this would be?
Depends on what the tenant is. Some projects, for example, again, if this is just a box, right, just walls, it would be done sometime probably late next year. The issue is if we're building something with more energy or fiber requirement, if it's a computing systems, if it's a robotics lab, there's a lot of things that would require additional power and or fiber, those can take more time. For example, if this was per se a data center, it would require probably ComEd to put in another substation as part of the project. It's something we would have to work with them to get done, because really where you can put kind of high-end technology uses is where there's power and where there's fiber. And those are things that take time.
Trustee Mills.
Do you envision this being just a one-client building or more than one?
It's designed currently to be up to 4 50,000 square foot individual sites, but it can be 200,000. It's really hard for me. Again, it's a spec building, which means I would be speculating if I guessed
Right.
as to how many tenants we would have.
No, but I'm sure they have some kind of an idea what they might be going after.
It would be 4 or fewer
Okay.
at this point.
Thank you. That's it.
Trustee Newell, do you have a question or just goofing around with your mask there? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I
Appreciate your time.
would make a motion for the approval of the ordinance supporting a Cook County Class 6B classification application for property tax assessment purposes.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you all very much, and thanks for being here during Monday Night Football.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, second is a request, and I may kill this name, Dar Alim Foundation for a courtesy review for proposed community center and mosque at 1260 West Higgins Road. Jennifer, did you want to say something first, or you want to?
Yeah,
If you need your password, I can come type it in.
there we go. Oh,
Nobody ever thinks that joke is funny.
sorry.
That's right.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor.
Do you want to state your
Yes.
name and address for the record, please?
Okay, my name is Mohammed W. Khan. My address is 236 South Salem Drive, Shambar.
Excuse me, to speak in the microphone, please. Thank you.
Okay, do you understand that your appearance before the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee shall not constitute any village board endorsement, support, or implied approval of the subject property? And do you also understand that the final project approval or denial shall only occur through the official village board action?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Honorable Mayor, trustees, and other officials. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed W. Khan. I am the priest, imam, and president of Darul Ilm Foundation. I have been imam and serving the community for last 25 years. In 2019, we have established Darul Ilm Foundation, and we got approved for 501c3 in April 2021. So we renting space at Typhoon Center, Halfman Estates for congregations. So we identify significant growth in congregation. So finally, we have decided to find a building. Finally, we found urgent care and we gave offer, and our offer was accepted for $1.1 million. So we have submitted for courtesy review in your office. So we request all of you, please consider our application. And actually, in Halfman Estate, approximately 2,500 Muslim live. There is no mosque in this area. So people of the Halfman Estate, Muslim of the Halfman Estates, they drive 20 to 25 minutes for prayers, for one side, one way. So they really need one mosque in Halfman Estates. So I request all of you, please consider our application, and we need your support and blessings to move forward. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question regarding your parking conditions. On that property, from what I've read on our paperwork, there's only about 70 spaces that can be used for parking.
Yeah, 72. Actually, it has 72.
And you have, from what I'm reading, I think it's Friday,
Yeah, Friday prayer.
that you have the 125 to 150 congregants.
Yeah,
Now,
two
is that,
services,
is that
for
every,
two services
yeah, is that every week?
every week.
Well, that's more than the parking spaces that you currently have. What would you be thinking of doing to help the situation as far as parking goes?
We are going to comply all the codes of the village. If you say reduce the people, so we can reduce. So our engineer, he gave idea, for every car, 3 people. So that's why, we have the 72 car parking space, so we can accommodate. And we can split the people in 2-3 services.
The building itself has how many bathrooms in it?
So 6 bathroom.
It currently has 6
No,
bathrooms?
not currently, because we have to remodel and renovate. After getting the permission from you, then we are going to remodel.
That I would expect.
Yes.
You were also talking about having a basketball court somewhere?
Yeah, but in future, not right now.
The question I have for you then in the future would be, where would you put that basketball court?
Not really we need it, but in future, for especially youth, if we need, only we are going to put the one hoop, only, that's it. Not big court.
Okay. Yes. Please give us your name and address as
I'm
well.
Sayed Nizami. I live in Hoffman Estates on 1510 Crawford Circle. I'm the treasurer because I'm a banker, so they put me as a treasurer in this congregation. So with the basketball court, it's not a court. We're just going to put a hoop in our parking lot somewhere on the corner where the kids can probably in the summertime can enjoy a little bit of time after, after the services.
When the parking lot is vacant.
Yeah, when it's vacant, yeah. So there's no such, so the community center concept is that because we provide services to the local community, which is mostly youth building classes and then moral building classes and also some religious classes, which we give to the local community. So that's what it
In
is,
small groups.
in small groups.
Thank you. Trustee Mills.
Have you considered, I think the parcel just west of this property is also on the market or about to
Yes.
go on the market. Have you considered purchasing that for parking?
Yes, we did put into our proposal that in the future.
Well, when you
maybe-
say future, though, I mean, are you going to buy it now while it's on the market before it goes to someone else?
Well, that's a good suggestion. We can
Good
look into,
suggestion,
yeah.
we will.
We can look into purchasing
Because
right now.
I also share Trustee Stanton's concern on parking,
Okay.
because I know that you will probably become very popular in the area, and I would have a big concern about parking over there,
Okay.
because you would be backing up to residential areas.
Right.
So, and as to the basketball hoops, that could end up being a little bit of a problem for you, being right there on Higgins,
So then
with
we can-
attracting other people.
Okay,
That's
so-
the only thing, keep in mind, that unless you have it fenced in or something.
Okay, so since your suggestion is good, we can take that basketball hoop out of the planning.
But my biggest concern is the parking.
And then we can go ahead and then try to take a good offer and then get it
Have you talked
accepted
to-
for the parking, yes.
Have you talked to that owner at all, or just this owner?
Yes, Kevin, actually, when we were talking to the village, Kevin suggested, and then he gave us the name of the owner, the dentist. So we can go ahead and then talk to them
Great.
and then purchase it right away for the parking concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Palafis.
Yeah, Trustee Mills, I remember when Motorworks bought this, and maybe Jenny, you and Pete might remember this. I believe this whole lot has been a problem for a long time with flooding. Their water detention is
Yes.
not good. And when Motorworks bought the property, it was with the understanding that they were going to do something with water detention because it'll literally flood up to the top of the tires of some of the cars. So I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, we
Uh,
are not. We are not.
We are not
Hey,
aware.
well, you are now. So
Okay.
that was, I don't have an issue with the use, but you should go in eyes wide open knowing that there's a problem with drainage. Pete, do you want to chime in here? Because, or Alan, sorry. You guys are interchangeable in my mind somehow, other than Alan visits me at home, but
I don't want Pete to talk about drainage too much. Take this.
so Alan's our village engineer and
Hi.
can give us some help here on this subject.
Right.
Yeah, Trustee Palafis, the parking lot utilizes its stormwater detention in the surface of the parking lot. That's how the site was originally designed. So there's a restrictor in the storm sewer. It's purposely meant to retain water inside the parking lot. So I think that's maybe what you were referring to. The previous proposal was going to take that storage that was utilized that way and utilize it underground instead so that it wouldn't hold water on the surface of the parking lot.
Because unless they know about that,
Yeah.
a year from now, you'll be like, why is my parking lot flooding?
Yeah.
Aside from basketball, you'll need fins and goggles and stuff to swim in that parking lot.
Right.
But that's been a problem for that site for a while.
That will happen, and it'd be expected to happen.
Yeah.
yes.
So you should know that going in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you can get a better deal and fix it. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, that was the only comment I wanted to make. But I mean,
Alan, don't go too far.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
so-
released yet. But I just wanted to bring that up, Gare. And
And that's a good.
I mean, I share the parking concerns, but we see that a lot with several different houses of worship in the area and
Right.
warehouses and stuff. But
Yeah.
that parking lot has been a problem for a couple decades now, at least that I can remember. So anyway,
Thank
that's
you.
all.
Alan, how would you fix
Thank you,
that?
Gary, yeah. So we've been looking for
Hold on one
this-
second.
Okay.
I've asked the question to Mr. Wenderski.
So having that volume be detained on the site is something that's required to happen. So to fix it, you'd have to, really make some, major changes on the site to replace that volume storage somewhere else, either in underground pipes or in a surface basin on part of the site.
And what would you expect the cost to be for something like that?
I'm not really have that number very handy and prepared with that. But it's not a small cost at all.
Okay, so do you expect that to be a major cost? Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, you had a question?
Yeah, I think it's a good use. I think the parking concerns, which you might want to think about also if you can't buy that other property, is can you come to some sort of shared parking agreement with somebody where even if you had to shuttle some people in by a car, if it wasn't too far away, they could park there. And because, Trustee Palafis is right. Every religious institution has certain days where they're just mobbed. And this would be a good backup for you.
Right, perfect, good suggestion, thank you. Yeah, so we've been doing the services in Tryphon Center for the past 2 years. During the pandemic, we were shut down, but after that, the numbers are significantly increasing. Not too much, but we have 3 services in there, and then we don't have any parking issues at this time, because the people who are attending the Tryphon Center on a regular basis for their activities, plus our congregant, they come and then they park, and then it's perfectly managed, and then we are not seeing that much parking issues within Tryphon Center right now. We have seen parking issues with the other mosque in the area, but that's a good suggestion by Karen that we can go ahead and purchase the vacant land right now, so that we can build it into the parking lot, and then it's gonna fulfill the needs. Maybe for next 10 years, we see the number of expected congregant is not going to increase significantly. And then if there is, we can always, do 3 services, Right now we are doing 2. Maybe we can do it in 3 services only on Fridays. Otherwise, on weekdays, it's 5 services, and then it's only 25 people.
35 people.
Yeah, that's what his experience is in the past with the other village.
Trustee Mills, do you have another question? Okay. Anyone else with any other questions here? Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in before us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time and then doing the courtesy review.
just
And
one-
then thank you for the village staff, because they've been very helpful with us.
Just one comment, because I see that staff is saying you really haven't put together too many plans yet to run by them. So
Right.
it will take time to work through with the staff on these issues and on your whole project. So be sure to work closely with them as soon as possible.
Yes, we are constant touch with Jenny. She's doing a wonderful job in helping us, and they are very welcoming here. So we feel like that it's going to be a good project. And then it's right at the entrance when we are entering into the Hoffman Estate. And then this area whole is, there's not many businesses that are surviving there. So this is going to bring the good activity in the area. And then it's going to attract more businesses and then more residents to come and then move into
Because of
Hoffman.
mosque, more people will move this area. We expect.
Well, you got empty
because of-
spots on either side of you, so check with those owners too. and
Yes,
see.
thank you, Karen, yeah.
And if you live on Crowsfoot, it's close to your home.
Oh, yeah.
You get a golf cart and come back and forth.
I worked there. I worked on walking distance, and then now I have a.
There you
mosquito
go. Also needs a good food place, and you got it all.
Right, yeah. All we need is a restaurant over there.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your,
All right,
Good luck.
thanks.
for your support.
Good luck.
Take
You're
care.
Good
welcome.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, third is a request by CRG Residential for a courtesy review of a mixed-use development located at the northwest corner of Higgins Road and Old Sutton Road, known as Plum Farms.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, nope,
I
no.
looked at it, I'm like, it's almost like they copied those pages and just submitted. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it floods like crazy in there.
That's funny.
Hey, Jenny,
Yeah,
that flooding will kill them.
Maybe they're using a new cleaner
If
or
they
something.
don't get ahead of it. Could they do off-site detention at the other place if they buy it?
it might be an option.
Anyway, for
yeah,
later.
we'd have to.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops, we're gonna lose
All
our
right, may I
audience.
have you give your name and address, please?
Yes, John Lasso, CRG Residential, 805 City Center Drive, Carmel, Indiana, 46032.
Thank you.
Excuse
And
me,
do you
would
understand?
Raise that microphone up higher and talk into it. There we go. Thank you.
We're in
than the
trouble
guy.
with that tonight.
Taller than the guy before you.
All right, do you understand that your appearance before the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee shall not constitute any village board endorsement, support, or implied approval of the subject property? You also understand that the final project approval or denial shall only occur through official village board action.
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed.
So CRG Residential has been working on, with the land seller of Plum Farms, on a portion of the land overall. It is specifically the northwest corner of Old Sutton Road and Higgins. Right now, we're proposing a mixed-use development that would include commercial space, infrastructure offsite, for rent apartments, and vertical construction work for proposed self-storage along the railway on the west portion of that property. As we get into the details, I'd like to give you a little overview of CRG Residential. We are based out of Carmel, Indiana. We started in 1995 as one individual out of the garage of his house. Fast forward to today, we focus strictly on multifamily construction and redevelopment, and we've exceeded about 22,000 units today with over 200 full-time employees. We strictly focus mainly in the Midwest. We do have a third-party construction arm that spans a little bit larger footprint in the South and East Coast, but our investment and development is here in the Midwest across about 7 states right now. So CRG, being a construction firm, is also a developer and investment firm. So anything that we're constructing, we're an owner of. So you get we're guaranteeing the construction and the quality of that asset, and on the other end, we're guaranteeing all the money behind it and the long-term investment as the owner. And so it's a little bit more unique than a traditional merchant development or merchant general contracting company. We house everything under one roof and control it under one roof. Here's a list of a couple of our recent development projects, as you'll see. One in Westfield, Indiana, which is a suburb next to Carmel. We've got Newport, Kentucky. A little side note, we are working in the city of Batavia right now. That mayor of Batavia was actually able to tour this Newport, Kentucky project upon its completion. Very complimentary of it. It's an urban infill site in downtown Newport. And then we have the Nickel Plate Station in Fishers, Indiana, which is a public-private partnership with the city of Fishers. That is set to deliver those units here in Q1 of 2022. Our key stakeholders and team members of this project outside of CRG, we've got Manhart Engineering and also BSB Design as our lead architect and lead engineer. They are in attendance today to answer any technical questions should there be any. And then we've also got our partner in Rumi USA, who is a third-party property management company located here in DuPage. And then our site plan is here, as you'll see. This is proposed of approximately 310 multifamily units comprised of 6 different buildings. 3 of those buildings are 4-story, 3 of those are 3-story buildings. There's 14,000 square feet of for-rent commercial space within the far east building on the corner. And then we also have the proposed self-storage lot along the western portion of the property that abuts the railway. Again, we are not the developer of that site. In our agreement and part of our agreement with the owner, we would be doing the horizontal construction, bringing all utilities, infrastructure to that site, grading that site, making it pretty much what we would refer to as pad ready for a third-party self-storage developer and owner. With that said, I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments to the board, please.
Trustee Palafis.
So I'm looking at your picture, not that one, but the color one version of that.
Yep.
And I'm just curious, when you do the mass grading and the site improvements, how much are you going to mass grade of the wetland area? Are you going to, I mean, it's not like you can just do half of it, right? You're going to have to kind of do the whole sweep. Is that your plan, or?
I'm gonna allow Jared Plasek with Maynard. He's probably better equipped to answer that question.
Hey, Jared.
Hi. Could you give your name and address?
Jared Plasek. I live at 1565 Newcastle Lane here in Hoffman Estates, Illinois.
Local.
Yeah,
So
well,
that the theme of tonight's kind of flooding. So, one of the problems with this property is it's also a floodplain. So back to the question, are you guys going to, you have to do the whole area, right?
so what you can kind of see on the screen here is there's 2 detention basins that are shown to the north side of the proposed internal ring road that is on the north side of this portion of the development. The intent would be for the detention required for this development to be on the north side of the roadway and correspondingly adjacent to the wetlands and the floodplain, and we're well aware of both of their existence. And right now, the intent is to minimize any impact to the wetland, as well as, be cognizant of the floodplain and do everything that we need to do in working with all the ordinances and the municipality requirements as it relates to any kind of compensatory storage that might be required, et cetera. We're very aware of that, and we're also aware that, and the village staff provided to us recently, that there has been an updated study that was completed recently regarding that floodplain that was conducted by, I believe, the U.S. Army Corps as it relates to or by FEMA as it relates to the,
My water study.
correct, as it relates to the base flood elevations that are associated with that floodplain.
So, not to break it down to a yes or a no question.
Sure.
But will you mass grade N5 and N6 then as a part of your, will that occur as a part of your development down at the south end?
I would say that N5 is not intended to be part of what we do. I think, as was illustrated by CRG, the intent would be to do mass grading as necessary to make the self-storage site pad ready per the requirements with the landowner.
Okay. So no. Sorry, I'm just binary. So then you'll end right below N6 for your portion.
That is our intent. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Interesting.
2 of the buildings I'm looking at have a 3rd and 4th floors. Is that correct?
Yes, there's 3 buildings, mainly to the south here, that are L-shaped, that are 4-story.
Okay. And those are going to have elevators in them?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Trustee Mills.
Okay, a couple questions. Now, you've got an interior road in here. Is that going to be considered a public street?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I see in here where you're listing 1.4 to 2 parking spaces per unit.
That's
That's what your average is. Staff, do we require 2 parking spaces per unit, or?
You know, our code really allows you, based on the specific use, we will depend on them to provide us with some good examples of modern apartments that would be.
Okay, because I would be, once again, we get back to the parking issues.
Right, and that's something we would certainly evaluate as part of the formal site plan process, and it would be a requirement that they provide a full parking analysis as part of their submittal.
Our goal, our design intent and goal in any community, whether it's Hoffman Estates or Fishers, Indiana, is always looking at a project parking needs as 1-to-1 bedroom. And so we try to at least implement that as our baseline going into any project. So 1 stall to one bedroom.
Of course, you need to have visitors too, so.
Correct.
Speaking as someone who's had to put up with a lot of parking problems over the years, I would just always get concerned on that. The number of units again is how many?
Approximately 310.
I'm sorry, what?
310.
310, okay. Okay, so that falls within our allowable, within the agreement, so, okay. That's, it looks beautiful from your examples, so, that's all I've got right now.
Trustee Palafis.
It's funny you bring that up, Karen, because I think you're the one that gave them the number of total units for the
Yeah.
whole project. So it's that number minus this number that they have left for all the other end spaces.
Exactly, that's what I was looking at,
Yeah. So you start burning through that number.
yeah. Well, first come, first gets the best bet,
That's right, you're first in, so you get them. It's a grab, right? So, no parking decks?
No. The 4-story building, however, will have some enclosed parking within the first floor of that footprint, each building there.
Enclosed like underground?
At grade, but enclosed within the footprint of the building.
Okay.
So pull-in parking.
Yeah. Okay.
How many places of business do you think you may have in these buildings?
We've got 2 separate spaces that are not adjacent to one another in terms of commercial areas. So I would imagine 1 to 2 businesses on this corner. That's about 4,000 square feet. And then down on the hard corner is about 10,000 square feet. It's hard to say, but probably anywhere from 1 to 3.
Are you thinking of like convenience store or something, or things like that, or, laundry, or?
Probably a more of a, local eatery, coffee type of space, maybe a medical office, dentist type of space and part of it as well.
Okay.
So that's probably more of our intent.
Anyone else with any other questions up here? All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming. We appreciate your putting this forward to us and looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, fourth on our list is a request approval of an extension of the temporary site plan authorization procedures for outdoor dining areas and a moratorium on the enforcement of certain temporary sign requirements through May 31st of 2022.
I'll second.
Thank you. Jennifer, you want to?
Sure,
Tell us
yeah.
what we're doing.
This request would just extend the current expedited temporary site plan authorization procedures that we put in place for outdoor dining, and then also the moratorium on the temporary signs through May 31st of 2022 as a way to offer just continued support to local businesses. And as the deadline approaches next year in May, we will certainly reach out to those businesses that have utilized this process and walk through the options with them on what their permanent solutions may be for outdoor dining if they want to proceed with that.
What was your estimate as far as how many people are utilizing this now?
Initially, there were about 18 to 20 restaurants, some on a small scale, just on the existing sidewalks. But I think there were 18 to 20 actual applications that came through our office.
And they're still doing this now?
Some are, some are not, but certainly there are some that are still operating.
Okay. Trustee Palafis, you had a question?
Yeah, you kind of stole my question there.
Okay.
I can't think of, I'm going in my mind because weed out everywhere, and I can't think of that many that are still using it. You know, maybe 2 or 3, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear you say 18 applications because I'm like, wow, who could they be? But maybe they just want it as kind of a just in case type of
Right,
thing.
right.
Yeah, so anyway, I think it's great. I think it's one of the best things you brought before us that we've approved that kind of rode through the heart of the pandemic, and keeping it going is a great idea.
Anyone else up here with any questions or anything? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. 5 is a request approval of an ordinance amending section 10-5-2.b parking spaces of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code.
So moved.
Second.
Jennifer, are you doing this one too?
Yep.
Okay.
So this item is a result of the local election, the ballot referendum, asking should the village require electric car charging stations for all new commercial buildings. The result of this was about 56% of the respondents voted yes. So this request would modify the code to require at least one charging station with all new commercial developments. So I think there is a proposed ordinance that would amend the code included in your packet as well.
So if I understand you correctly, this project that just came in front of us, if and when they build, they'd have to have at least, 2 or more?
So at least one. So we would evaluate it. Certainly they can do more than that if they'd like to.
Because this is residential, we're not looking.
Well, it's also commercial.
We do have the
Yeah.
commercial component.
Trustee Palafis?
I was
you
going to
had
ask the same question because, you know,
I'm stealing
people
your
need a place
thunder,
to park, plug in their Teslas, right?
Right.
So. But I thought the same thing, Gary, where I was thinking, oh, the guys that just came before us, this would be imposed on them and everybody else lining up, or doing some significant changes.
Well, running units are commercial units.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And, people, there's all kinds of electric cars, especially, the Leafs and the Sparks and all the things out there now. Besides, Tesla was a joke. I mean, that's the high end, but they're out there, as we bend the curve, we're going to have more of those in the village. There aren't many now.
Anyone else? Okay, Trustee Mills.
Yeah, I think I brought this up one other time, is that we need to set some guidelines, because even for residential areas, apartment complexes and that, I've had requests to look into it in our development. So, that's why we were looking to see if there's going to be some direction from the village on requirements with it, or probably something for code to be looking at as we go further beyond just this one.
Sure, yeah, we can certainly look
So,
into that.
Gary, my 2 questions are, where do you run the power from and who pays for it? I'm not asking for the answers now, but, I imagine there's some type of a association or something within there.
I think it's that you actually can have a pay per use.
Yeah, swipe.
You got to
Sure.
swipe your credit card to use it. But the thing is, you got to have the electrical connection to it to begin with.
Right.
And there are fees in that every year.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's some companies that are running that right now, so I'm assuming they'd contact one of those companies. So I guess we'll all find that out in the future. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And last on our agenda for new business is request authorization to waive bidding and award a contract for elevator inspections and plan review services to Thompson Elevator Inspection Service Incorporated of Mount Prospect, Illinois.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
All right. So typically the village, awards elevator contracts in a 3 or 5 year increment. Our current contract is for 3 years, and that's with Thompson Elevator as well. And that's coming to end this December. So beginning at the middle of this past year, we started evaluating Thompson's services with the village, a review of their contractual obligations, as well as staff and local business interactions, proved that Thompson was performing at a highly acceptable level. We have been pleased with their reporting, communication, inspection tracking processes, and feel confident in their continued level of service. Staff is recommending extending our contract with Thompson another 3 years. And with this extension, they have agreed to keep all fees associated with permitting, inspections, and testing at the same level as our previous contract. And they're also going to provide us with a complete electronic invoice and inspection reporting process. This will allow us to be more efficient and also kind of integrate with some digital processes that we're implementing currently. Even though that most of these permit and inspection costs are reimbursed through the permitting process, we feel it's necessary that we choose a company that offers competitive pricing and delivers superior quality to our local businesses. And we think that Thompson will deliver on that.
Thank you. Any questions here? All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Leads us to reports for information only. First is the Planning Division Monthly Report. Any questions on that? Yes, Trustee Palafis.
I don't know if this applies, but, what they just brought before us for the charging stations was one of those referendum type things. One of the others was streetlights. And I got to thinking after our capital improvement board, which was me asking questions for 2 hours. Thank you all for
We
enduring
noticed.
that. And I'm just an inquisitive guy. Where does that fall into planning at some point? And I'm not asking for now. Maybe it's a discussion for later. But it just kind of came to mind. Maybe it's future residential neighborhood. I don't know. Whatever.
The mayor has asked staff to begin looking into that and trying to create a game plan on how we start to tackle that.
Oh, good.
So that planning has started. But if we want, when we get into the budget, there are no dollars budgeted for next year. So when we get to the budget discussion here in a couple weeks, if we want to provide an allocation for something, we certainly can do that. It's certainly an initiative that's going to something we will just have to kind of bite off piecemeal over the next many years.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else with any questions on that? Okay, that report will be received and filed. Code Enforcement Division Monthly Report. Any questions on that from anyone?
I just had one question.
Trustee
sorry.
Palafis.
Go again
I'm
like
sorry.
last week.
It did. It's just a carryover. Our permit and inspection numbers are like a staggering rate. Are we keeping up? I mean, how are you guys keeping up?
You want to come up on the mic?
The numbers are higher than ever, and I'm just
So while Brian's coming up, one of the things I would say is, as a preview for some of our budget discussions that'll be going on this week as we
Yeah.
look at personnel items. One item that we are recommending for consideration for you for next year is an additional FTE. That would be a permit technician that would be fully dedicated to the front counter in helping process permits, handling customer service issues, things of that nature. Because you're right, the sheer volume of permits that we're processing is breaking records. And then the person the current FTE who's doing a lot of that review is also handling a lot of the plan review, building permit plan review for a lot of our larger projects. And as you know, we have a lot of large projects that are coming in. So, building is one of those enterprise-related items, even though it isn't like water and sewer. It's still an area where we have a lot of customer service interactions. So we're going to be recommending an additional person for next year's budget.
well. Thanks for the clarification because I don't know. You're hanging on by your fingernails until the budget gets approved, but I haven't heard any complaints. So kudos.
Yeah, I think we're handling it fairly well.
I know all the people who complain. So if there were any out there, yeah. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like Eric said, our volume is very steadily, at a high level. Typically, this time of year, it could start to taper off, but the permit levels have stayed high, commercial, residential, everything. So we're trying to do our best to manage all that and just kind of keep up with our consistent turnaround times. And we look forward to the additional assistance.
Okay, anyone else with any questions?
I only have one more comment, and then I have a question for the next report. But
Okay.
Oh, my God.
it's good to see foreclosures that are like an all-time low. That was a nice number to see.
Yeah,
So,
it's
in terms of our own small micro recovery here, that
Right.
looks good.
Is that it?
So, for now, yeah.
That will be received and filed. Third is the Economic Development and Tourism Monthly Report. Any questions on that?
Last one. I
Okay,
promise.
go ahead, trustee Palafis.
I was reading about the WBBM radio stuff, and I was just wondering if you've seen, has that moved the needle at all? I mean, have we seen any, goodness?
Any traction?
Yes, thank you.
So the short answer is no. I mean, I haven't had somebody come in and say, like the Brennan Industrial Investment Group, I haven't had them come in and say, I heard the ad and I want to build a 200,000 square foot building just because of that ad.
Okay.
Typically this marketing campaign is more about get the name out there more often, and the more often they hear our name, the more often they'll think of us when they are thinking to do a new building.
Yeah.
And they might not realize they're tying it back to, I heard your name 7 or 8 times and I want to be near that Bellworks project. Now starting in November here, we're running more ads for the Now Arena and for some of the Windy City Bulls that's starting there. And so again, they have analytics to tie when the ad airs to the website itself and see if there's an uptick in traffic. And so here in the next month or so, we'll dive back into the Bellworks to see if they saw an uptick in traffic to their website associated with those ads. And we'll be able to do the same with Ben and his group for ticket sales and just website hits. And that's really what this is about, is just driving people to the webpage. And from there, having Bellworks or the arena pull the people in and engage them that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're great. So I was just curious if you had
Thank you.
anything to lay your hands on yet. So.
In terms of indirect feedback, I've heard from probably 7 or 8 people outside of the village here say, hey, I heard your ad on the radio. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a, hey, I heard Hoffman Estates mentioned on WBBM, but I didn't catch the first part.
Yeah.
So, you're right. They're hearing it.
Yep.
So
It's definitely a brand awareness campaign, especially for Bellworks. That was our hope, just to get people to realize what it is and go to the website and begin to understand it. We also did the week leading into the Monster Truck event, just on monster trucks, and that was a very successful event. We've shifted back into Bellworks, and as then Kevin pointed out, in the next month we're promoting the arena and Windy City Bulls as our one of our partners with the Bulls. And then in December, we're going to try to then downshift back into general village branding. And so one of the things Kevin's working on right now is what we're calling as a microsite. So a website that is really just focused on economic development and branding for the village. So, and I was part of this years ago, right? You tried to push everyone to your general municipal website for information. So hoffmanestates.org. And the problem is a website, it's good, it's got a ton of information, but if you're looking to either relocate as a business or move your family here, at this point you're not really concerned about garbage pickup, right? You will be, but not now or when our agendas and meetings are. You just want a general overview of the village and some of our key demographics, information, et cetera. So we're actually kind of pausing on our current methodology to start a new one, and that's what Kevin's working on, is a separate website that would just try to target those things. So we're still working on the domain name, right? We haven't picked a URL.
I'm open to ideas if y'all want to email me.
We'll get to that point.
At 2 a.m. when you have this great light bulb.
he's talking to me.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah, I'm up. Try it.
Okay, he will call you. So that's the one thing we're going to then try to push into December, is just that general brand awareness about Hoffman Estates.
All right.
It's exciting, though.
Anyone else with any other questions on that? All right, that report will be received and filed. Fourth is Development Services / CDBG Monthly Report. Any questions on that? Hearing none, that'll be received and filed. President's Report.
Nothing else, trustee Stanton.
Okay, we have nothing in other or items in review. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.
Good evening. I'd like to call the General Administration and Personnel Committee for the Village of Hoffman Estates on this Monday, November 8th, 2021. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Arnett.
Present.
Vice Chairman Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. If I can have a motion for approval of minutes for October 11th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody see any corrections, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I see nothing under new business. We will go into reports for information only. Number 1 is the Cable TV monthly report. We will go ahead and receive and file that. Number 2 is the Human Resources Management monthly report. Okay. We'll go ahead and receive and,
Mayor's got his hand up.
oh, Mayor?
Yeah, you've got the Fairview crossing guard. Have we got crossing guards at all the other schools now? The police still doing a lot of that?
Patrick, I don't have an answer on that in terms of, I know we're still looking for a couple.
Everybody's getting called up tonight.
Yeah, I know that we are regularly trying to recruit crossing guards for schools. I know that we have, we work very closely with the police department, and to my knowledge, I believe we may still have a vacancy that we're looking to fill, but we're working toward filling those.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We will go ahead and receive and file that one. Number 1, we have a deferral requested for the Legislative Operations and Outreach monthly report.
Move to defer.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions, concerns? Okay, we do have a motion and a second. All of them in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion has been deferred. Move into President's report.
Nothing else, trustee Arnett.
Okay, there's nothing in other or items in review. Can I have a motion for an adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Like to call to order the Special Finance Committee. Could I get a roll call, please?
Chairman Palafis.
Present.
Vice Chairman Newell.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
And thank you. We have a quorum. We have one item under new business, which is request authorization to waive bid and award the contract to CDW Government, CDWG, for the purchase of Fortinet endpoint detection and response system in an amount not to exceed $44,468.99.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Suzanne, you want to update? Derek kind of hit this during the CIB, but you want to hit it for the
Did
greater
indeed.
audience who's watching?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. As Trustee Palafis just mentioned, this was brought up at the Capital Improvements Board meeting last week, so it may sound familiar to some of you. As you're aware, there are a lot of cyber attacks and ransomware attacks that are happening not only in the private sector, but also with government organizations. It's becoming more and more frequent. So our staff, our IT staff, budgeted a number of items in our draft budget for 2022 related to security. We also have some insurance mandates that we recently learned about. So our insurance broker, Gallagher, came to us and said that we needed to have a couple of items in place. We thought by the end of first quarter of 2022. It turns out that goalpost has moved for us. So we need to actually have these items in place by the end of 2021. So we it's a little bit of a truncated timeline for this specific project. I have Fred Bessenhofer here from our IT department to answer any specific questions about this item, but we have a couple of items that we need to get in place. One of them is called multi-factor authentication, so we're working on that in parallel. This endpoint detection and response system is something that works sort of on the back end of our IT infrastructure. So if we were indeed to get attacked with a ransomware attack or something similar, this endpoint detection kicks in and protects us kind of on the back end of that. So Our current firewall provider, Fortinet, offers an EDR solution that we think is going to be a seamless addition to our systems. From what I understand, there are a lot of different EDR products out there, but this Fortinet solution is going to be the fastest for us to implement and will work best with the systems that we already have in place. The Fortinet solution is offered only by one single reseller in this area, and it's through CDWG, which is our government CDW. So it's already negotiated prices for local governments. We have $75,000 budgeted in the draft budget for fiscal year 2022 for this item. We think it's actually going to come in closer to around $39,000 annually. There's some additional costs factored into this item for installation and other things as we're rolling this out. We would like to not only do this item, move this item forward in 2021, but also to leave that additional funding in for 2022. Obviously, as we see the mandates change and we don't really know, ever what's coming next. So, we may need some additional funding to do some additional security items, potentially to, qualify for insurance in 2023. We may not know that yet, so.
Suzanne, you said the finish line moved. Was that moved by Gallagher or was it moved by the industry at large?
We believe it was a move by the industry. So we were under the impression, and I believe Gallagher was as well, that we had a little bit of additional time to get this done. Our theory is that they went out to get quotes for cybersecurity insurance, and the feedback that they received from the marketplace was, if you don't have it, you can't get insured. And obviously, this is something that we want to make sure that we have insurance for. Hopefully, we will never need it, but in the instance that you do, obviously, you want
And
to
when
be
you
insured.
say it, you mean multi-factor authentication and EDR?
I mean cybersecurity insurance.
Oh, I got you,
Yes, you hope that you will never need to
Right.
use your cybersecurity insurance, but you most certainly do not want to be without it.
So, second question is, you have quantity of 17. Does that go with the number of firewalls that we have, or why that
That is a
quantity?
Fred question. Shaking his head no.
Okay. I mean, I'm reading the description and the part number, but
Pardon me if I lose my voice during this. The quantities 17 are in blocks. We only have we have 3 firewalls, primary, backup, and then a tertiary. The quantity of 17 is just the amount of licensing per block. So we're looking at roughly 400 computers. That's everything that is on the network and those that are off the network as well, that have to have a client on them as well as the servers, because that's where the software is actually going to sit.
okay. That's all for me. Anybody have any questions, comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, we're adjourned. Thanks.